Earlier this week on my Substack, Worth Knowing, where I write about politics, history, science, economics, I wrote about corruption, specifically Donald Trump's corruption. And when you think about it, the first thing that comes to mind might be that $400 million Qatari jet, or that $1 million a plate dinner for shadowy crypto lords, or the "I need you to do me a favor though" strong-arm maneuver on Vladimir Zelensky that got him impeached a few years ago. But I wanted to highlight a recent case that made the corruption so crystal clear it would be hard for anyone to miss, even a dyed-in-the-wool MAGA Trump fan. The case involved a man named Paul Walczak, who pleaded guilty to 2 counts of tax crimes, where basically he took $10 million that he owed to nurses and doctors and other people who worked at his nursing home business, and instead of paying the taxes, he took that money to buy a yacht and baubles from Cartier. Remember, he pled guilty to all of this. But the thing is, his mom was a longtime Trump supporter. Now, she'd been pleading with Trump to give him a pardon, but to no avail. And then she paid Trump $1 million at a fundraiser, and magically, 3 weeks later, Mr. Walczak got a full and unconditional pardon. Go figure. But here's the thing. Do you hear that? It's the sounds of silence, the lack of a scandal. So the next question is why? Now, clearly, some of it is because we've all become so numb from the years of outrages that we can't quite summon a dopamine response anymore. But part of it can also be explained by some new polling numbers from Navigator Research. They point out that it's definitely true that Republicans are seen as more corrupt than Democrats, and Donald Trump adds to that perception, but not as much as you'd think. If you ask about which party is more corrupt, voters say Republicans by a margin of 7 points, and that margin grows to 15 points when you mention Donald Trump's name. And that's a clue, because that's not that big a difference. In fact, Navigator shows that Americans are pretty evenly split on which party they trust more when it comes to corruption. And here's the real clincher. They tested 2 different messages. Message 1 says that the scale of corruption under Trump massively outweighs that of any past presidency, Democrat or Republican, and we need to do something about it. Message number 2 says that Washington has a major corruption problem in both parties, and we need to enact significant reforms and overhauls to the system to hold Trump, as well as other Republicans and Democrats, accountable for corruption. So here's the thing. Message number 1, that says that Trump's corruption is by far the worst of anyone ever, is true. Because of that, the second message that blames both parties and says we need to hold Trump and everyone accountable seems unfair. But it's that second message that Americans overwhelmingly agree with. The first message beats a Republican response by 13 points, but the second message crushes the Republican response by 41 points, 64% to 23%. So that's the key. If Democrats want to beat Trump on his disgusting, unprecedented levels of corruption, we have to get people to let their guard down and be willing to talk about getting rid of corruption from everyone. Otherwise, the people we're trying to break through to will just say it's a plague on both their houses and retreat right back inside the partisan bunkers inside their mind. Yes, that kind of sucks. But if we want to fight back against the most corrupt American leader in history, we have to be smart about this. And the smart path is the only one that's going to work.